Good morning, everybody. Keith Engle here for Jack and Keith's Weekend Playbook. How's everybody doing today? I hope we got the 4th of July weekend coming. We got a scorcher here in most of the country, the Northeast for sure. And I welcome in my co-host, Boxing Hall of Fame writer and Michael Spink's biographer, Jack Hirsch. How are you, Jack? And I cut Jack off just before the show. I apologize.
Yeah, I was complaining, Keith, about people and things nonstop, and then I feel a little guilty that I'm complaining. I complain about people who I'm actually fond of, who I like. But I'm glad the show began. I could talk about sports, and now I can complain about teams and individuals in sports, not personal people.
Well, Jack and I have decided, we know we're both grumpy old men, so we get along better that way because we both know who we are. So we don't worry about complaining. Complaining is a good thing. Trying to find our banner, Jack.
Let's get into sports, Keith.
There's a lot going on. Listen, the World Cup, there's our banner. World Cup has been an exciting, for most of us. I mean, there's been some complaints about the expansion of the tournament, but I mean, all the foreign countries have come here, and every report I've heard about people talking about their experience here has been positive, and in some ways they were surprised, and the play has been fun. There's been some controversy. We've got two big stars still in here. Ronaldo, maybe his star is falling a little bit, but Messi's been unbelievable. The USA's in the round of 16, but now they lose their top scorer in, how do you say his name? Balogun, I think is close enough, right?
Yeah.
On a controversial red card the other day as they moved on to play Belgium. If you enjoyed this so far, Jack?
Oh, I've enjoyed it immensely, and I've gotten into it. You know, the opening games, not so much, but then after that, it's real. I mean, the tournament, to see the passion of all the fans, you know, from the home countries.
Yeah.
I mean, it hits home. This is by far the greatest tournament in the world. I mean, you look at certain other tournaments and they're localized, but this really is country against country in the true spirit of competition. So, you know, the World Cup is what the Olympics was supposed to be, but the Olympics, you know, never have. They've kind of, I don't want to say faded out. It's still a great competition, but the World Cup is the single greatest tournament. But I'm going to tell you, Keith, watching the games, what's driving me crazy, and this makes the World Cup a tiny bit like the NFL, where you have a touchdown scored, and then you're looking around for flags.
Yeah.
And then a few seconds later, it seems a flag is thrown and the touchdown is called back. We've seen this with goals. Goals are so hard to come by. And to see the game yesterday, you know, with Croatia against Portugal, Croatia scores the tying goal in the extra time segment, and then it gets called back, and you keep looking at the replays, and you still can't see the offside. And you hear they have a chip in the ball. And I just don't, you know, get the rules. Another thing that bothers me, Keith, two other things.
You never know when the game's over either.
This always bothers me. How do they determine how much extra time is left, the officials? Do they decide themselves on a whim? Oh, well, I'm going to give them a little extra time. There's no science to it. So the team that has the ball attacking at the end, trying to score, whatever, to tie it up or win the game, whatever the situation is, do they know how much time they have? That's like, could you imagine in the NBA, they put on a little extra time when the ball goes out of bounds, but there's no shot clock, and the players don't know exactly how much time they have? I don't get it. And one last complaint from this grumpy old guy. And we see this in all sports. I wish they would put the name of the team. I can't always read the uniform. You tune into the game 2 minutes late. 2 minutes into the game, I don't know who's playing who sometimes in the beginning of the game.
You got to learn your flags.
On for the commentator to make a remark.
You got to learn your flags, Jack, and you'll be all set.
I don't know these flags. A lot of them. I have a hard enough time with the NFL, NBA, MLB. sort of the flags. You think the Jacksonville Jaguars? I'm looking for Jaguar on there. What's the difference between a Jaguar and an Eagle? The Philadelphia Eagles. I'm getting it confused. But,
it is a little tough.
but it's even worse in the World Cup. You're seeing these uniforms, and they want to show you the little photo on the screen, supposedly to make it easy which is which country. But it's hard to tell. They look similar a lot of the time.
They do, and abbreviations are not, that some of them aren't logical.
Change the darn abbreviations and the way they're doing it. Just simplify it. Put the darn name of the country on there.
You could do that for most of them. They're not that long. Yeah, I agree with you on some of the mystery of the game, right? The extra time has always baffled me. I get some of the reasons they do it. Again, it was explained to me. It's got something to do with where games should have stopped and they didn't, or something like that. So somebody's keeping track of how much time there is. But it makes no sense to me when you run out of regulation why you're not putting up the time. If there's 2 minutes or 5 minutes and there should be a running clock, it shouldn't be just a surprise. Okay, the game's over. So it's a little strange. But again, I think people who are probably more versed in the game than you and I probably are used to that. And they may even know how much time is left. I don't know. As far as from the U.S. perspective, I said they had a really nice win against Bosnia the other day, and they'll get Belgium here on Monday. I think Monday night.
Monday night, yeah. United States would have won more decisively. They were offside on a couple of goals.
Yeah, they had to win late in that match. Now they as I mentioned before, they lose their top scorer, top offensive player, and I was watching this because I heard a lot of chatter that Messi committed a very similar foul earlier in this tournament and didn't get a red card. I watched these two things. To me, the penalty on Balogun was just incidental. They both went up. They came down. He happened to be on his ankle, and it was a bad injury. It looked like a bad injury. I don't know how he came out. But I watched Messi's play. Messi ran up the guy's back. He made a conscious effort, in my mind, to take this guy down, not to hurt him, but to take him down. To me, Messi had a more egregious penalty than this player did.
And on a penalty kick with Portugal, with that Ronaldo made that put him up 2-1 yesterday against Croatia and turned out to be the game win at the end. Should he have even had that penalty kick? Because there's a certain amount of flopping here where there's a little contact made, but is it enough force? You look at the replay for someone to fall down. Keith, even at my age, if they hit into me like that, I'm more likely to grab my legs standing up and not falling down. And these young world-class athletes are falling on their face. You kind of wonder, just because there's contact, is it hard enough contact? I know as an official, you don't want it to get out of hand, but there's some serious flopping going on here.
I thought they gave guys yellow cards or whatever, some penalty for flopping in soccer. I haven't seen one call in that regard, and I haven't watched every game, obviously, but I haven't seen one call for flopping in this whole tournament. Maybe I'm wrong about whether there's a penalty or not. I haven't seen it.
You know what I wonder about, which hasn't come out at all, whether there's any bias involved with the officiating. I'm going to tell you why. No, hear me out.
Yeah, no.
Take another international sport, boxing. There's bias involved with judges a lot of the time. There really is. A lot of the time that does affect decisions. And you kind of wonder whether the officials sometimes a little harder on one country than the other. And we never hear about the officials, where they're from, what location. Do they have roots that are close to one of the countries in the game that they're officiating? We never hear about that. You hear about that in boxing all the time. For example, someone I know, a manager, he had a fighter from Ireland fighting a fighter from Ukraine. And one of the judges had gone on record as being sympathetic towards Ukraine in some way. And he didn't want that judge in the fight because he felt the judge would favor the Ukrainian boxer, and it turned out the judge did against what was popular opinion. You just don't know for sure in soccer whether that element's involved, but I have a feeling that's something that's going to be discussed in the future. Where these officials from, their location?
I don't know if they have some veto. Maybe do they have that veto right in boxing when they find out about?
Yeah, they do. You can appeal it, and some of the time judges are removed.
Yeah.
Can teams do that before a game?
I'm not sure. I
Like
think they
4
would
years
know.
from now, if Croatia, assuming they're back in the World Cup again, can they put in an appeal to the World Cup Federation, whoever be in charge, of not having certain referees be involved with their games in the tournament? I don't know. I
got to tell you, if something ever popped up in that regard, as far as questionable ethics, if you will, among referees in World Cup matches, it'd be a huge story because
I don't mean
referees
cheating.
can really impact games here a lot.
I don't mean cheating, but I mean just kind of favoring one other team, a little more than the other. Yeah, just overlooking a couple of things what they maybe didn't have to. Like you mentioned the thing with Messi. I'm not saying there was anything improper there at all. That would be a good example there.
Yeah.
Messi committed the same infraction, but there's also the thought, Keith, if it's a superstar like Lionel Messi, like in any other sport, a little more intimidated to kind of, make a call against them.
The real one of the real darlings of this tournament has been Cape Verde, and their first very small country to be able to get world-class athletes to put a team together that's advanced to the round of 32 is already remarkable in their first World Cup. They're going to play Argentina today. They've been, again, a darling of this tournament. I don't see anywhere they're getting past Messi and Argentina today.
Right, I don't see that either. But some of the teams that have been traditional powerhouses aren't it anymore. Like a team like Germany that's gotten eliminated, they were traditional powerhouse, and they're not in it anymore because certain teams that were non-factors in the past, certain countries, are going to be factors going forward because the culture of soccer in their nations has changed for the better. So things kind of level out a bit as time goes on.
If you took the USA out of the equation, obviously I would hope most of us in this country are rooting for the USA. If you took them out and the teams that are left, who would Jack Hirsch root for right now? Is there a team that you can?
That is a great, probably the UK, but I don't think they're going anywhere. They've been very spotty in this tournament to date, very erratic. They needed a couple of late goals the other day, to advance, to the round of 16. But probably the UK, because I have links there writing for a British publication, knowing, number of British. So that would be my thought.
I would.
Yeah, United States was out. I'd like to see. Yeah.
I don't have any links anywhere, but I think I would root for Norway just because their fans are so much fun.
Norway, yeah. I mean, the fans are fun in all the countries. I mean, if you look at the passion, you're looking. Listen, Keith, you look in the stands, and a team that loses, like Senegal, blowing the lead the other day, a couple of days ago. You look at their fans and you see the tears coming down the face. I mean, man, there is a passion there. Brian, wait. So Brian, Brian has lived a producer his whole life, I assume, in the United States. He's rooting just as much for Mexico and Brazil as he is the USA.
Well,
That's why we got a lack of patriotism in this country. Kids,
well, he's rooting for the USA first. I mean, give him a break.
He's putting them. Any of the three that win are fine with Brian. Do you think anyone in Mexico and Brazil is rooting for the USA as much as they are their countries? Come on.
Do you think anybody in England's rooting for the USA? Nobody's rooting for the USA. Nope, except for us. That is
a good point you're making. Whoever the USA play, if the USA was lucky enough to get to the finals, the other countries are going to be rooting for whoever's playing against the USA. Is anyone going to be rooting for the USA to win?
Check, stop. I don't think so. No, I do not think anybody would. If they got against France, everybody root for France. I'm pretty sure. Outside of this country. Maybe I'm wrong.
They'll root for any team to beat the USA.
Yeah. Well, France is most likely to get there. I mean, I don't think
those teams in the tournament they'll be rooting for, I believe, to beat the USA, unless there's another team that has villains or whatever, country that's not popular worldwide. I mean, the USA's never popular.
Well, actually,
worldwide.
France
It's rarely popular because it's considered to be a major power, and there's been traditionally a lot of jealousy towards the USA.
Wow, geez.
Canada
$4.
is the one potential, Chris, the one biggest, you could say, Cinderella story realistically, who could make a run at things. I mean, because Canada, no one thinks of Canada as like a sack of power, and here they are. But Canada's playing with house money. This is the furthest they've ever gone in the World Cup. They could get eliminated, Canada, and they can leave this tournament feeling they did great at this point.
They got Morocco next. They could possibly beat Morocco, I think. But France is looming one game away. That'll be the end of their run.
Yeah, absolutely.
And France is on the same side of the bracket as the USA, so the USA is not making it.
France would be my pick right now if you're asking me who's going to win the World Cup. France would be my pick. Spain, I didn't like the way they looked early in the tournament.
I think if I had to pick somebody to get to the final, it'd be France, and the other side of the bracket, Argentina, to be in the final. That'd be my pick right now.
That makes a lot of sense.
I think that's my pick. And I think that'd be a big draw too for TV audiences as well. So, Chris had another comment. Chris, I will get to your comment. It's about the NBA, so I'll wait till we switch.
Yeah, we're going to get on the NBA soon, Chris.
We are going to get there. Anything else you want to chat about in the World Cup? It's been fun.
Well, that's it. Monday night, lot of interest. United States against Belgium. It's a pick'em game. The United States looked better than Belgium did in the last game. Belgium 2 goals on the 85th minute. They're down 1-0. They rallied for 2 goals. I mean, it shows you can never tell. But Belgium is a better team than they looked in that game. They woke up at the end.
What I hate too, and I hate it in hockey in the regular season. I can't believe they do this in the World Cup and play a shootout. They played
Senegal. They woke up against Senegal. That's what I meant. Senegal looked like they're going to pull a really massive upset.
But that game ended up in a shootout, right? I don't like the shootout endings in the game. It's a totally different game you're playing to decide a World Cup match. Makes no sense to me. It's like having home run hitting contests to decide the World Series. That makes no sense. So that's another rule I don't get. I get it. They don't want these games to go on for a whole day, but my gosh, to decide games of this importance with a shootout just seems nuts. That we already had that one. Okay. I didn't put up Brian's comment. He did make it clear USA is always number one to him, by the way. Let's pivot to the NBA because there's a lot going on, and I'll start with Chris's comment just because he had it and I don't want to lose track of it. The Raptors gave up quite a bit to get Kawhi back. Yes, they did, especially at this point in his career, and he doesn't play complete seasons anymore.
It's not going to happen, Chris. No, Chris, you're a knowledgeable guy, so I respect
Toronto fan too.
He's opinions, but I don't like to talk about things that aren't realistic. And LeBron James is not going to the Toronto Raptors. It's not worth talking about even. I mean, he's just not going. If there was as much as a 2% chance of him going there, I would discuss it at least a little bit. But come on, he's not going to the Toronto Raptors. So don't say, does it make sense for them to sign him? He's not going on any way, shape, or form. Even if they were able to offer him a ton of more money than any other team, it wouldn't matter in the slightest because LeBron is filthy rich and he has no interest in going there.
I would agree, and we're going to talk more about LeBron in a second. Let's leave LeBron out of this equation. Does Kawhi Leonard coming back to Toronto make them one of the top 4 teams in the East? I'm going to say no. I don't think there's enough there, and Kawhi doesn't play enough games. He's hurt a lot lately. He played 65 games last year, but he's only played over 60 games like once in the last 3 or 4 years. I don't think he.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Raptors took the Cavaliers to 7 games in the playoffs. Okay, Raptors were with the team that they had comprised. They weren't a threat to win the NBA title, but you do combine Kawhi Leonard with Scotty Barnes, and you got, you got Barrett, you got Quickly, you got guys you could kind of build around a little bit. Yeah, I do think that they're contenders. They're not favorites, but they're contenders. If Kawhi Leonard shows up in top form and he has a big year, yeah, they could challenge for the East title. Look, they were NBA champions with Kawhi Leonard. He was there only 1 year. They love him in Toronto. They loved him after he left for and he was only there 1 year.
Well, he brought him a championship.
He was going to be a Raptor legend the rest of his life based on just 1 year there. Now he's coming back to Toronto. And even though he's from Los Angeles, they're looking at it like their favorite son has returned home. And he's going to be there the rest of his career. And no matter how Toronto does, they're going to have a love affair with Kawhi Leonard because they haven't forgotten their championship they've won. And they have a pretty good team, a pretty good team if Kawhi Leonard is Kawhi Leonard. And I got to believe next season he's going to show up and he's going to have a really good year, a Kawhi Leonard type year. And if he does, Keith, how could you say that they're not contenders?
Are they one of the top 4 teams in the East?
I don't judge 1, 2, 3, 4. Keith, it only matters who's number 1 at the end. You have a number of teams.
Simple question, Jack. It's a simple question. Are they one of the top 4 teams in the East? Again, contender-wise.
When the Indiana Pacers went to the finals the year before last, no one would have said they were one of the top 4 teams going into the season.
That's fair, but again.
Are they? Obviously, the Knicks as defending champions have, in no particular order, have to be given one of the top 4 spots, right? Right. Without
100%.
The Philadelphia 76. No, I'm not rating 1 or 2.
I am. You can't. I will.
No, why do that now? I'm not.
That's what we do on these shows, Jack. That's what we do.
There are moves yet to be made. Does
Jack,
it elevate? Does it put them? Wait. Are they a threat to the Knicks Raptors now with Kawhi Leonard? And the answer is yes.
No.
They might not be a major threat, but they're enough of a threat.
Anybody gets to the playoffs is a threat, but they're not all.
Would you agree with me? The Knicks losing Mitchell Robinson, a marginally a little worse, a tiny bit, a little bit.
Without knowing how they'll replace him in those minutes, yes.
Right, that's what I'm talking about now.
Yes.
Now. Okay.
Marginally, by the way. Marginally. He's not that big.
Marginally, a little bit. But the Knicks were the 3rd seed. Keep that in mind. They went on a great playoff run. So I can argue to you that the Knicks really are the 3rd best team in the East, but they just went on this great playoff run. If I want to play devil's advocate.
I get it.
Philadelphia 76ers now, are you kidding me? With getting Jaylen Brown and
they're ahead of the Celtics right now.
Chris mentioned LeBron James's name. LeBron James might actually go to the Philadelphia 76ers now, which would have been unthinkable because LeBron's decision, we thought it was going to be made, Keith, on convenience of where he was going to live. So we thought, oh, he might come back to the Lakers. He likes it in LA. That's home. But maybe he'll go to Golden State a short ride away. He's not going to Golden State.
I haven't said that, by the way. You have said that. I haven't said he cares about where he lives.
No, but the equation has changed. LeBron cares about one thing only at this moment. Who's giving him the best chance to win? He's going to look at the Philadelphia 76ers, and he's going to look a starting five. Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, Jaylen Brown, BJ Edgecombe, and me. That is the best starting five in all of basketball. That's
Really?
how he's going to look at it. Let me tell you, and I'm going to tell you something.
He could join it is, but I don't think he's better than the Knicks.
If healthy, that is the best starting five in all of basketball if LeBron joins the Philadelphia 76ers.
That's a huge if when Embiid is one of those guys, by the way. That's a huge if.
If healthy. Right. If Embiid stays healthy, and LeBron joins the Sixers, they have the best starting five in the NBA.
I'll take my five over any of those guys. All those teams. Certainly over the 76ers. I'll take my five guys. I think I don't know why they continue to get discounted this way. The Knicks starting five is as good as anybody's in basketball in my mind. They just won a championship.
They wouldn't be as good. You can't,
I think they are. Again,
Jaylen Brown.
Individual guys in those fives that you just talked about, whether it's Oklahoma City or Philadelphia, they're
Jalen Brunson are pretty close as far as the quality of the players go. Pretty close. You want to say Brunson is a little better? Okay, I'll go with that. Okay, that's fine, but it's close. Embiid is better than Karl Anthony Towns. Maxey and Anunoby.
100% healthy, maybe.
You could give Maxey an edge over Anunoby. As much as I hate to say it, different style players, but I'm just doing a cross comparison. I'll take LeBron over Josh Hart, for example, and Mikal Bridges and BJ Edgecombe. There's not that big of a difference. You could give Bridges a little edge, but how much impact does Bridges really have?
So we're only talking on raw talent, nothing else, because raw talent doesn't often win in the NBA, just right? Because chemistry means something. Nobody's got chemistry like the Knicks have. Nobody.
Oh, I agree. Listen, that's fair. Absolutely. But you have to, the players I mentioned on the Sixers, the potential starting five, if they develop the chemistry, that would be the best starting five in all of basketball that you could put out there.
Don't you think that's a big if with Jaylen Brown and Embiid are in the equation? I think it's a big if.
Jaylen Brown won an NBA championship. He's a winner.
I'm talking chemistry-wise now. Will they gel as a team? These are two big egos.
I don't know. I'm going to tell you why it could be a little iffy, because Jaylen Brown he wanted to go somewhere where he could be the number one option. He might actually be the third option on that team. And I'll tell you why, because Embiid completely healthy, he's the man. He's the man. He has to be. He's as good a center as anyone in basketball. Just about.
You have to always add the word healthy in there, though.
If Embiid is healthy, he's as good as anyone in the center.
When is that? When is that, Jack? When is that? It's it's never.
But now there's a little extra motivation. You want to know why, Keith? For the first time, Embiid is looking at the Sixers saying, we got the team. We can really win this thing. We're not just a playoff team. We really can win the title. He's going to look around. He's going to see LeBron James and Jaylen Brown. Are you kidding me? And then he's going to have Maxey and Edgecombe after an excellent rookie year, an unexpectedly good rookie year, continuing his improvement.
Now, I do agree. The 76ers have moved up into the top 3 in the East, in my mind. They moved ahead of the Celtics for sure.
Celtics are out of it. I mean, the Knicks, Celtics, I think the Pistons have fallen off maybe that little bit. Miami Heat, because they have Giannis joining Bam at, in Miami. And if Andrew Wiggins could have a really good year, I don't know how many pieces Pat Riley could fit in to add more depth.
They don't have a lot of cap space, so.
But they have a great coach in Eric Spoelstra, who always has them overachieving. And especially with Giannis, you can't dismiss him.
Now, this whole thing could change. I don't know when these odds were out, Brian. I would think the Celtics are no longer the second choice.
Celtics aren't. And Brian put down Knicks. No, Celtics. Come on, Brian. No, they don't have Jaylen Brown now. Oh, Vegas. He put that's not
Vegas.
Brian.
It's Vegas.
Brian. No, they wouldn't have the Celtics too. Heat, Raptors,
they would.
Sixers. Now with Jaylen Brown should be ahead of. I think but I can understand, why they have the Heat there. I would say Giannis will have a super year.
I would say right now, Knicks, 76ers, Pistons.
Let me tell you,
Cavs could change. This could change if the Cavs get LeBron, by the way.
And I'll tell you, the East, I think, has surpassed the West now as far as the power. Tobias Harris, right. I apologize, Brian. I read that wrong. Tobias Harris, speaking of Brian, big Piston fan, they lost Tobias Harris, the Pistons. He went to San Antonio. That is an under-the-radar move that could be a lot bigger than people realize. I'm not the biggest Tobias Harris fan. I never was. But he is a good player. Not an exceptionally good player by any means, but he's a veteran coming to that young team. I don't know how much he's going to help in the locker room, how much he's going to help with leadership, because they did go to the finals. But to add him as a piece to the San Antonio Spurs, it's going to mean a lot, because we both know the Spurs, they're going to go into the next season. To me, they'll be the favorites in the West, but it should come down between them and OKC. The West is pretty simple. Who's going to get to the finals, San Antonio or OKC? That's how it is in people's minds.
See, to me, don't the Spurs to me, they need a true point guard. And he's not a point guard. And now they've got like 3 guys or 4 guys.
Harper might step up and he might handle the duties. I think he should.
He doesn't feel like a true point guard.
They made another move. San Antonio made another big move. Billy Donovan, they hired him.
I think it's a great move.
Billy Donovan's I'm not sure what his job description is. It's coach, coordinator, whatever. But he's pretty,
he's
with
assistant.
Him and Coach Johnson reportedly are pretty close. They're pretty close. When they hired Billy Donovan, I thought, hey, maybe they're looking to slip him in as a coaching change if the Spurs get off to a slow start.
Possible.
Because when coach takes a team to the finals, you're not going to replace him usually, in the case of San Antonio. But maybe Coach Donovan, he didn't get the Orlando Magic job. He didn't get the North Carolina job, Billy Donovan. The Bulls wanted to extend them. They love Billy Donovan, to continue as their coach. And I guess with Billy Donovan, he'd grown stale at Chicago. He kind of wanted to get out. And I think in his own head, he thought there's a good chance he was going to get the Orlando Magic job. He didn't. The East is so loaded, Keith. The Orlando Magic have, they have a winning team. They won a championship threat. But they underachieved last year. What happens if all their young players suddenly hit their stride? They could conceivably take a run at the East.
Were they even listed in that Vegas thing?
It could be a real dark horse.
Yeah, they're not even listed in this Vegas.
It could be a dark horse because of all the name recognition and these other moves.
Yeah.
The Knicks are not favorites to me. I hate to say it. look historically at all the teams that get to the finals in the East, how hard it is to get back there the next year. They don't get back there the next year. Even a team like all these championship teams, a lot of them, I mean, Denver Nuggets, they win a championship, they're favorites, and in the mind of Keith Engle, they're favorites for a few years after that, or they're taken seriously. Denver only went to the finals one time they won. Milwaukee with Giannis, well, 1 year they won. The Celtics, we thought they had a good chance to repeat.
Okay.
And they didn't get back there. And now look where they are. This Knicks team is not favorites to win the NBA title. I mean,
I didn't say they were, did I?
But you say, oh, well, they have the chemistry. They're number one in the East. Forget what they did last year. The chances, if the Knicks find themselves in the same situation again, the odds are extremely small of them pulling off the same magic. They just happen to go on a great run. In New York, celebrate this championship on and on. But the Knicks are going to struggle a bit next year. Well, I could see them having a record of like 50-32. Which is okay, but there'll be some discontent. That means you're doing your share losing too.
Listen, I don't expect this team to win 65 games next year. Again, they showed you don't need to win 65 games.
They're not like the Thunder, where you knew the Thunder was going to come back the next season and have a big regular season. And the question was the Thunder going to just finish the job in the playoffs? And we saw that they couldn't quite get it done against San Antonio. The Thunder have made some adjustments. They drafted from Michigan. Who's that big 7'3" guy? To give him some more presence underneath. And they re-signed Hartenstein. Everyone thought they'd lose him.
Didn't you tell me this wasn't a rivalry anymore in Spurs and?
No. I said if the Spurs beat the Knicks into the NBA champions, it's not a rivalry. It's just not, because the Spurs showed their superiority during the regular season and coming back as defending champions. It's not a rivalry.
They run that
and more likely than not, the Spurs are going to come out of the West because their young players are going to be better. Dylan Harper is going to become a breakout star. Even De'Aaron Fox is going to show he's a lot better. The much maligned De'Aaron Fox is going to be a good player, very good player for them next season.
He won't be on that team next year. I don't think he'll be on that team next year.
They would have traded him in the meantime if they were going to do it. They would have worked. Someone would have wanted him, and they would have worked out some type of deal.
The season doesn't start tomorrow. They have a lot of time to still trade him. So,
no team wants his contract right now. That would be the main thing.
There is that.
If you didn't have that, teams would absolutely take him.
Listen, again, I think the Knicks showed last year, and I think we've seen it in other cases too. The regular season is basically, it's meaningless. It's all about getting position for the playoffs, and you don't need to win more than 50 games. Even that. I mean, you can get it, win 48 games if you have a good team, and playoff basketball is obviously different than the regular season.
Well, they did win 8 seed, during the pandemic and got in. And listen, years ago, the Rockets, when they seed upset the Lakers, got in.
Right. Don't tell them.
Yeah, no. Listen, because I'll give you this, Brian. We did debate this. Because the Spurs are not NBA champions, you could now call it a rivalry. I said it was going to be based, if the Spurs would have beaten the Knicks, it wasn't going to be a rivalry for the simple reason that the Spurs would have shown complete superiority of OKC. I shouldn't say complete, it did go 7 games. But the Spurs are a team on the upswing. If one team's better than the other by a little bit, and the team that's better by a little bit has all this great upside to get better and better and better, and you've hit your peak and you're not going to get that much better, it's not a rivalry at that point. The Knicks and Spurs are a rivalry now because the Knicks beat them. Had San Antonio won that series, the Knicks and Spurs would not have been a rivalry. They wouldn't have been that.
Tell
Listen,
me one.
the Knicks and 76ers are in a rivalry right now. Right now, as far as the Knicks are concerned, Knicks fans, it's not a rivalry because the Knicks are better. But I'm going to tell you this. If the Sixers beat the Knicks 3 in a row to start the regular season, with Jaylen Brown, and if they get LeBron, then it turns into a rivalry all of a sudden. A rivalry means both teams can win. You don't know who's going to win.
Why do we think that OKC is on the descent? While
I don't think they're on the descent now. I think
their key players are all in their prime. Their key players are all in their prime, all of them.
I think OKC rebounded wonderfully, and Williams was hurt for the playoffs against San Antonio. One of their impact players. I got to recognize that. I know that they're young, but they're not as good as San Antonio. San Antonio, all the guys on OKC, there's not one player there. And we can't talk about SGA because he's established, but they don't have one other player who has close to Dylan Harper's upside. Dylan Harper is going to be a major star. He wasn't allowed to be that last year. They're unleashing a major star in Dylan Harper, and Stephen Castle, one of the best defenders. He just has to keep out of foul trouble. He's only going to get better and better and better.
I won't disagree with that, but again, I don't think it puts them head and shoulders above the.
No, not head and shoulders. No, not head and shoulders. To make it a rivalry, Brian, OKC has got to win the first couple of games in the regular season against San Antonio. If they do that, they send the message. Now it's a rivalry. Listen, it's like, for example, Keith, it's going on Wimbledon now, so I'm going to give you a tennis example. Years ago, Chris Everett, who everyone loved, America's darling, would play Martina Navratilova. We keep hearing about a rivalry, Everett-Navratilova. Navratilova would destroy her every time out. It wasn't a rivalry.
That's not true, by the way.
NBC trying to bill it as such. Oh, Everett-Navratilova rivalry. Finally,
that's not
when
true.
Navratilova's skills started to slip a little, Everett upset her and won the French Open. And even Everett said, now it became a rivalry again.
Jack, there wasn't a rivalry in the beginning. Chris Everett held like a 32-10 match edge against Navratilova when she first.
No. But once Navratilova hit her prime,
rivalry.
It wasn't a rivalry. It was a mismatch. She was so much better. We had a thing too. I remember what this great hurdler, Greg Foster, said. He got upset by another hurdler in the Olympics, Roger Kingdom. Roger Kingdom wins the gold medal, and by the way, Kingdom then won it again 4 years later. So they asked Foster, what about your rivalry against Roger Kingdom? And he said, look, the guy beat me once and I beat him the other 23 times. Is this really a rivalry? That's how I look at it.
When somebody's trying to knock you off your pedestal year after year after year after year, that's a rivalry. Look at the Red Sox.
So the Orlando Magic and Knicks are rivalry.
No.
Miami's got Pat Riley. Wait a second. Miami has got. Miami's got Pat Riley. There might still be a carryover, Riley being a villain with the Knicks.
That was a huge rivalry, though. At the time.
Now that he got Giannis, and Miami shows up into Madison Square Garden, could it be a rivalry? Sometimes it takes one little spark, one little incident. A fight could break out on the court, and now it's a rivalry.
Agreed. I agree. It's not just who's better makes it a rivalry, right?
Keith, let me ask you this. What is going to be your reaction when Mitch Robinson ultimately returns to Madison Square Garden if the Knicks fans boo him? What's going to be your reaction?
I don't know that I'll have one. I don't think it's. I don't.
You'll be indifferent. I'll be.
I think it could go either way, Jack. I think it go either way. I think you'll get some cheers and get some boos. I don't think.
I think he should only get cheers. That's my prediction. He's only going to get cheers.
And maybe you're right because he is part of a historic Knick team. So
LeBron, getting back with LeBron, Miami reportedly, and I don't think this is coming from LeBron's camp. I think people are speculating, is on his short list. Okay? And it's possible he'll go back to Miami. Why would he want to? The way they savagely attacked him after he left, why would he want to? It's different him going back to Cleveland because LeBron understood later on he went about things the wrong way, and Cleveland was truly home.
that's the thing. And yesterday, the reporting everywhere almost was that LeBron had narrowed this to two teams, Golden State and Cleveland. Now 76ers are in the chatter today. I think it's one of those three teams, quite frankly. And I still think the smart move would be go to the Spurs, but apparently.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think he goes to the Spurs. Absolutely, they win the title. But look, if LeBron goes to the Sixers, you could take a lot of pressure off him. Let him play point guard. Tell him we don't need you to score. When you can score, that'll be great. But we got Jaylen Brown, Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid. We got all that firepower. Just handle the ball, run the show. And LeBron likes that. Run the show. You run the offense. You're the field general out there. And Maxey, Brown, and Embiid will be happy to do the scoring and let LeBron handle the darn ball.
If he just wants to win, if he just cares about winning, then San Antonio or Philadelphia might be the best landing spots for him. Cleveland's further away than the 76ers now, in my mind. Golden State's not going to win with all those old guys.
No, they're not. I think he understands. LeBron understands that also. I think LeBron's looking at Cleveland and saying, darn it, I don't think we would quite get over the top with me there. But he's intrigued because, they do have Donovan Mitchell. They do have Mobley. They do have Allen. And they have Harden, who he might think could be a factor. I don't know. But so he's probably still intrigued by Cleveland to a degree, but I think they're out of the mix. Golden State is out of the mix.
I do too.
If you're asking me for a prediction who he goes to, I'm going to say it's going to be Philadelphia now, and that is a shocker. That would have been unthinkable before they got Jaylen Brown. Absolutely unthinkable.
And that would be a huge wrench in the mechanics of the East for sure. I think so. Again, LeBron can still play. People who tell me LeBron's time has passed haven't watched him play. You may not like LeBron, and he's not the player he was 5 or 10 years ago, obviously, but he's still one of the top players in the NBA.
And he's in transition to point guard completely with Philadelphia. He ran the offense for the Lakers when they were out. Draymond.
I think he goes back.
Draymond Green, Draymond Green. Well, he opted out of the $27 million contract to make space for LeBron or whoever. But Golden State is going to work it out with Draymond.
I think so.
I think for him to be a career warrior at this point, and I think that's what he wants to be. Look, I don't think if you're Draymond, you want to go elsewhere to chase another ring. You've won 4 of them with Golden State. Your legacy is intact. Finish your career out as a warrior one way or the other. Both him and Steph Curry, that would be the way to go. You want a little bit of a prediction too. Sure. I think for the last year of his career, I think the Warriors find a way. They'll get Klay Thompson back and let him end his career with Golden State. So, bring the band all together.
I don't think it'd be much of a difference maker, but I think that's...
No, it won't make a difference maker at the end, but I think they'll want him to finish up at Golden State.
I think that'd be a nice touch for sure.
And as it turned out, Klay Thompson, it turned out to be a mistake to go to Dallas, but he didn't know it at the time.
Before I let LeBron go and move on to something else, what about the timing of him telling the Lakers he wasn't coming back? He waited till Bronny got his extension and then said, "By the way, I'm not coming back." I think it's a little odd.
I don't get that because LeBron is filthy rich. Bronny's extension was for $2.3 million.
Right.
What he could have done, LeBron, was just paid Bronny $2.3 million out of his own pocket without even blinking. If that was the deal. Something about the timing. You can't ignore it, Keith. Why did he do it? Because he wanted. That's kind of hurting the Lakers a little. If they wanted to move on from Bronny with the cap, I don't understand the strategy. I think Bronny is still going to be part of that team.
Maybe he wanted to make
I think JJ Redick has invested time in him, unless JJ Redick and the Laker brass really feels Bronny isn't good. And it would look bad. It would look bad if they moved on from Bronny immediately to Lakers. They're not going to do it. Reportedly, Bronny gets along with the other guys like Luka, Austin Reeves. They get along fine, and Bronny can help you defensively in spots. And if he improves, let's see whether he improves. This is a pivotal year for Bronny to see whether he can be a legitimate NBA player. Pivotal season. If he hardly plays, there's your answer. But Keith, the truth of the matter is, you got a lot of guys who ride the bench in the NBA who hardly get in games. Is Bronny as good as they are? Chances are he's as good as a lot of they are. So but he has the last name, James. Let's not hold it against him in that sense. Let him occupy a space on the roster. If he could help JJ Redick, play him. If he can't help, he won't.
I think it's interesting that whoops, sorry, I didn't mean to put that back. I think it's interesting that LeBron spent so much effort wanting to play with his son that now he waited till he was already signed with a team he doesn't want to go play for. So it's interesting from that regard. If
the Lakers didn't pick up Bronny's option, he's a free agent.
Right.
And if LeBron goes, conceivably a team could say, "Oh, we'll sign you and Bronny." But I think LeBron and Bronny are conscious of this now. Bronny doesn't want to be, I would guess, in LeBron to be seen as, well, I'm being carried by my dad, or my dad is carrying me. Well, whatever. That he's his own man. And listen, LeBron says Bronny's his own man. LeBron got Bronny an opportunity. I'm sure he influenced his decision to a point. I believe Bronny's his own man if LeBron says so. Bronny's making his own decisions.
Maybe better for him get out from under his father's shadow, so it might be best for him.
Yeah, no, listen, I think it is best for him, and I felt the best situation for Bronny all along, if he was going to not play college, would have been at San Antonio. Even with Coach Pop as an advisor, as a mentor, all their young players there. I think that would have been a good situation. But LeBron wanted to play with Bronny. Bronny, I guess, happy to play with his dad. And they lived in LA. It was close to home. So the convenience factor, too, can't get overstated enough sometimes.
Let me pivot to baseball real quick. Again, tell me when it's time to worry about.
I'm hoping we could avoid it, Keith.
Tell me when it's time to worry about the Yankees. And don't tell me again before I let you go. Tell me when it's time to worry about them, and don't tell me they're going to make the playoffs, because the American League stinks so bad they're going to make the playoffs. That's not my question. They've lost 10 of their last 12, and this team is not scoring runs. I mean, they're scoring runs at a horrific pace. I mean, it's ridiculous how bad this offense is right now.
Keith, I've been ridiculing you in a couple of other shows about saying the Rays are a threat to the Yankees. They're not a threat to the Yankees. The Yankees are a threat to the Yankees. The Yankees' biggest threat is the Yankees. They've been awful. The Rays are holding on. They've been okay. Nothing special. They've been okay. They've been winning games lately. They've been winning in a row. I know. I shouldn't say that. I retract what I just said. The Yankees have been so bad, I'm reluctant to give credit. The Rays have been great, but the Yankees have been horrendous. I mean, absolutely horrendous. And it's caught up to them, the Aaron Judge factor and Stanton. It's caught up to them. Even the starting pitching. Schlitter gets lit up the other day. Cole has been so. Even the strength and the bullpen. You know, these guys, Doval hasn't been good. Cruz hasn't been good.
This
the middle relieving.
This lack of offense affects starting pitching because you go out there knowing if you allow a couple runs, you're in trouble. So it affects the way you approach the game.
They'll snap out of it, Keith. I think this is a case of everyone going bad at once. That's the problem.
Hopefully.
It's not like some guys are slumping a little and other guys aren't. I think everyone, for the most part, outside of maybe a player like Rosario, is slumping. Even Ben Rice, who was lighting it up great, he's cooled off. Bellinger cooled off a little bit.
The pressure
of having no production out of third base. Austin Wells hasn't hit all year.
Jazz hasn't hit all year. Wells hasn't hit all year.
Jazz hasn't hit all year. But Keith, bottom line is, at the end of the day, what are you going to do? You could move Ben Rice to catch and sit Austin Wells down and play Paul Goldschmidt at first. Paul Goldschmidt is slumping a little bit the last
few games. He's not going to hit.
I mean, and he overachieved early.
He did.
So maybe by certain guys overachieving, like Ben Rice, Goldschmidt, it picked up the slack for Judge being out. But put Judge's bat and Stanton's bat in the lineup, and it's a difference maker. If Judge and Stanton had been healthy, they would have won 2-3 more games. The
problem is that they're not, and Judge isn't going to be for a while yet. I don't think he's going to be back for at least a month, maybe longer. So it's not encouraging right now. And I'm
the good part is,
I'm not blaming Aaron Boone, by the way, because he didn't put this team together again. So.
Yeah, I mean, the Yankees were playing aggressively on the Boone, taking extra bases, doing things they hadn't done so much in the past. I mean, they took a page out of the Rays book, the way the Rays would play against the Yankees and other teams.
You're absolutely right, Brian. The defense has been horrendous. It's been awful.
I mean, listen, Grisham's been out. Not that he was having a great year, but he was producing on a good RBI ratio, Grisham, even though his batting average was
hitting
down
about 15 when he went out.
Base percentage was down. He was at least getting key hits. So you put Judge, Grisham, and Stanton back in the mix, Max Fried back again. Help is on the way. And like you said, they're in a good spot to make the playoffs because you think the worst is over. But then again, they just have to look across town at the Mets. There were a couple of years late in the year where the Mets had this gigantic cushion to make the playoffs and were losing. And we think they have the cushion. They'll at least make the playoffs. But then the losing never stops. But at some point, listen, winter, July, at some point, it's got to turn around. Back again.
They've got a decent lead in the wild card. Again, there's nobody in the American League that should make the playoffs and knock the Yankees out because the American League's really bad.
We look at the Houston Astros. The Astros' time is up.
Keep hanging in there.
About them, this and that. And what are they, like 2 games out or something now?
So they're 3 games under 500 or 2 games out of wild card.
Yeah, there you go. But keep this in mind. If the Yankees continue losing, the wild card isn't safe because these teams that are performing poorly, a couple of them are going to really start winning. And they're going to finish the year strongly.
You've seen some of the teams play better, but the teams we think are a challenge, the Blue Jays can't get out of their own way. I keep worried about the Blue Jays, and they'll win a couple of games in a row, then lose 5.
They have that World Series hangover, the Blue Jays.
Something going on there.
And someone's going to deal for Skubal, one of the contending teams, and it's going to make them a bit more of a force, I think, down the stretch.
Agreed. Jack, we've got to wrap it up, but any boxing news you want to throw out there? I didn't see too much when I was scanning.
No, that's a July 4th show, tomorrow. It'll be on TNT, July 4th in the evening. Abdullah Mason's fighting Carrington is fighting in separate fights. So, that could be fun if someone, is looking for something to watch in the evening on TNT. But the World Cup is continuing, kind of as well.
World Cup will be big this weekend for sure. A lot of people trapped inside with the heat. I think the World Cup will do some huge numbers this weekend. So,
sure.
Jack, have a great 4th of July. Everybody have a great 4th of July. We'll see you again.
July 4th, everybody.
Do you have a debate show tomorrow, Jack?
No debate show. We're taking off.
No debate show for Jack. I'll be on Sunday with the Sunday Stream of Consciousness. We'll have the Sunday morning roundtable on the McGrath Podcast Network, and we'll see you Monday morning at 8 a.m., guys. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, everyone, for tuning in, and thanks for the comments, everyone.
Absolutely. Bye-bye, guys.